Someone once commented on my sweaters, or that I always wear like cute sweaters, and this one is very cute. It's very big. I bought it for my husband for like 40 Danish kroner because they had some kind of sale at the thrift store. So what is that? I think that's maybe $5 or something. It's very big and super cozy and warm, and today it's quite cold here in Copenhagen. And we're gonna talk about restaurants you should visit when you are in Copenhagen. I love to go out and eat, and we don't go to super fancy places like Noma or anything like that. Also, there have been some scandals around Noma that they have a lot of interns that they don't pay and so on. So yeah, and even if we wanted to, we couldn't afford to go there. But we eat out whenever we can do that. And these are some of my favorite restaurants here in Copenhagen. As you may know, I eat vegan. I have a plant-based diet. And all of these places are not vegan places per se, but are restaurants that are happy to accommodate your vegan diet, and where I feel that I have been taken care of. If they don't already have something vegan on the menu, they have made something vegan for me, and it's been delicious. I'm gonna start with the most expensive one. It's called Ark or Ark. It's in the middle of the city, and it's the fanciest restaurant that I've been to. I think we had like an 11 or 12 course dinner there, and everything was like tiny portions, but together it was like a journey of flavors, and it's very beautiful and elegant. And they have a few like sister restaurants. They also have one called Lupa Bistro where we've been, and that is a bit cheaper, but you can kind of have the same like flavors and a lot of like similar dishes. But at Ark they will give you the whole experience. And we went to Ark. It was pricey when we went, but we went, I think it was 3 years ago, and it's become way more expensive now. I think Ark is now in some kind of Michelin, they don't have a star, but they have some kind of award or something. I don't know anything about fancy things, so I don't know the details, but I think that's the reason to why it has become more expensive now. But if you want to have a plant-based, fine dining, very exciting and yummy like journey, you should visit Ark. It's fancy, it's nice, and everything is vegan. This one is one of our favorite restaurants. We've been there a few times, and it's located in Christianshavn, which is an area that is quite touristy, I think, but also I pass through Christianshavn almost every day, and it's a very lovely place to visit. So if you're gonna be there anyways and stroll or shop or whatever people do, you should visit Donda. Donda is a Latin American modern cuisine, and they serve, I think I've had like the best, I don't know what to call it, but like they serve like smaller dishes but not combined. They take them out one by one, and everyone I've been to Donda with has loved it. So me and my husband, we go there when we have like a special occasion, someone's birthday or something like that. It is a bit more expensive, but it's not like crazy expensive. I mean now the Danish currency is a bit high for us that has a salary in Swedish crowns. The Danish crown is quite pricey for us. But I think Donda is definitely worth everything. It's super yummy and it's fun, and it's a lot of those flavors that I really enjoy, like if you like Latin American food and also Thai food, I feel like it's kind of sometimes the same spices like cilantro, lemon and lime, tomato, and at Donda they will give you like fancy tacos and so on. And also, it's not a vegan restaurant, it's a fish restaurant actually. And I don't even think they have anything like vegan on the menu, but every time I've been there, I have emailed them prior and said like, hey, we're gonna be, I don't know, 4 people and one of us is vegan. If you could accommodate that, that would be lovely. And every time they have blown my mind because it has been so good. They recently opened up, or not recently, now it's been maybe a year. Time flies. But they have another restaurant in Västerbro, which is more of the touristy place where, because all the hotels and the central station is in Västerbro, so they have another restaurant there and it looks beautiful from the pictures. We have never been there, but I would love to go there. I think also the one in Västerbro is maybe more pricey, I don't know, but definitely worth every penny. The owner is lovely. The chefs are great at their job, it's amazing. And they also have a couple of fun cocktails. They have one with like some smoky mezcal and mango, I think, which is super yummy. And then they also do a very nice paloma if you like that. This next one is Izakaya place. It's called Jah Izakaya or Izakaya Jah. I never know which word comes first, but it's a very like minimalist Japanese modern restaurant, and they do have vegan things on the menu and it's always super delicious. It feels like everything, like whoever made the dish had a plan. Like when they created it, they think about like the composition, like what it looks like, the textures. I remember having a dish that was like this silk tofu, is that what it's called? The very soft tofu, and it was fried in something, not tempura, but like a very thin layer of like some crispy thing, and then it was placed in a small bowl with a very elegant like broth, and I think it also had some like onions on it, and it looked like, I don't know, the perfect minimalist dish, and it was full of flavor and it wasn't like a lot of things happening, it was just like very pure. Now when I'm talking about it, I'm like drooling because it's very good. And we've been there a few times on date nights, and we've also been there with friends, and my husband took his colleagues to that place when they were having a dinner here in Copenhagen, and everyone loved it. So it's pretty much a safe card. And also they play they usually play like reggae, like soft, chill reggae music, and the staff looks cool. And this one is also in Västerbro, so yeah, definitely go to Izakaya Jah Izakaya, whatever it's called, go there. If you want to have amazing ramen, you should go to Slurp. It's so good. I've only been there once actually, but I keep thinking about it. And I've only been there once because I think we went there for lunch and it was quite expensive for a lunch. It's very small, they don't have a lot of tables, but it was like the best ramen I've ever had. I remember they had one that was vegan, and then they had one, or maybe a couple, that were not vegan, and it was so good. If you like a good ramen, go to Slurp. I also need to mention this place because it was one of our more recent dining experiences where we were like, oh my god, we need to come back, this was amazing. And it's called Goldfinch, and it's in the middle of the square, what is it called? The King Square? Yeah. And it's also very central, and it's also very central and in a touristy place, and it's worth it. It wasn't very expensive for what you got, and it's beautifully, like, it's nice and very cozy, and it feels like an expensive place, and it feels like everyone eating there is rich, or at least it did when we went there. We went there because we have a friend working there, so we went there to eat. And I remember like looking at the other table, and there was like an older man wearing like designer clothes and with a younger woman. So I was just like, I just got the feeling that they had money, and that was the vibe. Like they had more, I don't know, rich customers and then us, and everything. They have some vegan options, and they are happy to accommodate. I didn't need to tell them in advance that I'm vegan. They already had some vegan things, and I remember having some fried aubergine thing. He was so good. And then we had a tofu with Sichuan pepper, and that was also so good. And my husband had, I don't know if it was like shrimps or some kind of seafood. I don't know this because I didn't try that, but I remember he was so amazed. It was like some kind of toast thing, but it's all very nicely curated, the menu, and they also have some fun and funky cocktails. And if you want to have like if you want to go on like a nice, sexy, elegant date night, Goldfinch is the place for you. If you don't want to go to a fancy restaurant but want to eat like food that it feels very comforting and very like nutritious and homey, if that's more your vibe, I definitely recommend Ranees kitchen. It's in Nörebro. It's always amazing to eat there, and feels like coming home to your Thai friend. It's very chill. It's not super like, it's nicely decorated, but it's very like low key, nothing too like fancy. It's just like eating at a very local restaurant, and everything is very good. I always have Ranees greens, and even though I have it every time, it's always very good. And I think it changes a little bit, but it's so good. And they have a few wines. I remember having an orange wine that was so good. I just kept drinking it, and I'm not a heavy drinker, but it was so good. And it just was paired with this dish, and it was super yummy. This is a place that feels very like, you should probably reserve a table if you're going like on a weekend, but it's definitely worth to try. And it feels very like chill and open and inclusive, and everything is very like well made, feels very homemade, very cozy. This place is also a Japanese place. I like eating ramen and Japanese and Thai and Asian fusion and Latin American food. But this place, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I think it's Kona, and it's in Carlsberg, in like an area inside or next to Vesterbro. Very, very good. Very, very good. You need to visit this place. I think they are affiliated or owned by the same owner or something with Slurp ramen that I mentioned, because I remember that they had some kind of collaboration, or maybe that was just like a one-time thing, I don't know. They also serve ramen, and we went here with my sister and her boyfriend a couple months ago, and it was so good. And you sit at a counter around the kitchen, so you can see when they are preparing your dish. And it's it's in this, the neighborhood is not very like authentic, because a lot of new buildings are around, and also the building where the restaurant is quite new, so it feels more like new and elegant, so it's not this authentic feeling, you know. But the food, I remember having nice food it's such a nice experience. Like, I love being taken on a journey and just like try something, and then it just like makes your cells explode. And this place is like that. Not very pricey, very chill vibes, but also like a fun date place. I think I'm gonna take my husband here another time soon, because it was so good. And also when we were sitting there, we saw that one of the girls working there was also working at another restaurant that is called Sanchez, that is very famous, which also is very worth it. It's very good. So yeah, an extra tip is Sanchez on Istagal. And yeah, she was working there before, and now she was working at this place, and we were like, oh, we remember you, because we ate at Sanchez one of the first weeks after moving to Copenhagen, and she had just moved from London, so we were like, oh, we're new in the city. And then we came back to the restaurant like a couple of weeks later, and she remembered us. And yeah, we don't know her, she's lovely, I don't know her name. She's British and she looks very cute and British. But yeah, definitely go to Kona. I think the places that I have mentioned are like mid-expensive, like medium expensive, like not the cheapest, not the most expensive. But also, I mean, if you want to eat cheap, you have to grab like a falafel, because also the burgers are expensive. There are so many like Noma chefs or people that used to work at Noma that have opened restaurants, and it's a lot of like food culture going on in Copenhagen, a lot of fermentation people and a lot of like creatives within kitchens and restaurants. So a lot of places are pricey, but I feel Copenhagen, it's quite pricey overall. I hope this made you hungry, and I hope you get to visit one of these places if you are in Copenhagen anytime soon. I would love to know if you have any recommendations for me, like is there any place that I should visit? I'm always on the lookout for a new, fancy, good, fun, yummy restaurant. One restaurant we want to try next is Ja Tak in Nørrebro. When we can afford it, we'll go there. Hope to see you soon again.